I'm not really picky about guitars that are a bargain, and this one certainly is a great bargain. Just think of how many hundreds or thousands of people were needed to make a guitar like this. The wood, rosewood, basswood, and maple had to be harvested, cut and shaped. The metal parts like the bridge, the tuners, the pickups, and wiring had to be mined from the earth, refined and processed. The paint had to be made from resins, colored to the right color and shade. Then the painted parts had to be polished by hand to a high gloss finish. The parts were then assembled with skill to make a guitar of really good quality. The tuners have to be tightened and the fret ends have to be filed a bit because they have somewhat sharp edges. Check on YouTube to see how easily this is corrected. The intonation was almost perfect and the action was set to a medium height. I am not really sure why buyers expect a perfect guitar when even the ones costing hundreds have issues. The completed guitar come from thousands of miles away and are subjected to heat, cold, dry air and humidity in shipping, but most make it into your home okay. Don't even ask about what kind of strings are on it because they are pretty good and a new set only costs about $6 for a good set. It does have a Stratocaster tone, so the pickups are really pretty decent. I just tried it clean with no overdrive so far, but I think this guitar is a real bargain for the price. Don't be wuss. Learn how to set up and care for your own guitar. It's very simple and fun, just be careful, make sure you have learned what you need to know and use a lot of TLC in handling it. If you do, then a guitar like this will last you a lifetime plus. Not sure what this beginner guitar stuff means, but it is a ridiculous term. The guitar does what it is supposed to do regardless if is played by a newbie or a pro. It basically all depends on your skill, pedals and amplifier. If they all suck, then you will too. It's not the guitar's fault. Thank you, Donner. Nice product. Note, I just wanted to affirm that there are only 3 spring holes in the tremolo block, but the spring claw has 5 hooks. I also noticed that there are pre-drilled dimples where the other 2 springs would mount. So if you have a drill press, you could drill the holes with the proper size drill. Not sure why Donner would do that? Maybe to save on production costs, or perhaps limiting the pressure on the body wood to a workable string gauge to 10s and below to keep the basswood body from breaking out. It's okay as is, but one wants to take a chance. You can always replace the bridge with a vintage 5-spring Fender bridge. General review: if your kid is interested in learning an instrument, then get this. For under $100, you can get them everything they need to get started without breaking the bank. The guitar itself was actually pretty nice. Unlike some other reviews, I didn't have any problems with scratches on the body or roughness on the side of the neck. The frets were smooth, the pickguard had a plastic wrapping that we peeled off. I was pretty amazed at how nice it looked and felt versus some $300 plus starter guitars I looked at years ago, and those didn't come with a case, strap, etc. The only thing I had to tweak was tightening the low E string at the bridge because it was a little bit raspy sounding. But, that took under a minute. Itemized review: guitar, really good value and quality, for the cost, picks, a bit flimsy thin but get the job done. Amp, good for learning and portability. Tuner, not great. Suggest finding a free tuning app on your phone that will be easier and better. Case, decent. Strap, decent. This is a good beginner guitar, and with a little modification, or a lot, it's a great guitar for anyone. The stock parts are decent. The screws on the tuner buttons should be tightened, and please, replace the strings as soon as possible. The strings that ship on this, and most guitars, are very old and poor quality. A new set of strings is about $5, and changing strings is something every player should know how to do, like how everyone who drives a car should know how to fill up the gas tank. The body is 1.75 thick, and the paint is flawless on mine. The frets are uniform height, but very gritty. This will even out with a lot of play, or you can do what I did and polish them with steel wool when you change the strings. I have played and owned a lot of inexpensive guitars, and this is one of the better ones for the price, especially if you want to learn a bit about how to work on your instrument. If you want a guitar that's totally ready to go out of the box, buy a Squier or Ibanez for twice the price. The materials on this guitar are good, but some of the finer points need to be adjusted, polished, and dialed in. The gig bag is pretty good, the cable is very good, and the strap is decent. I bought this guitar for the body and neck, and I replaced almost everything else. The body is full thickness and accommodates regular trem blocks. Like I stated before, the paint is flawless. The weight is good, mine is 7.6 pounds. The pickguard is not Fender spec. I had to file out the neck pocket on my new pickguard, and I filled all of the pickguard screw holes on the body, then drilled new ones once I got the pickguard properly positioned. New locking tuners went in without any issues. The frets were easy to polish, and the fretboard looks a little nicer after some citrus oil and beeswax. I changed the plastic nut out for a bone nut. The nut slot is narrower and taller than Fender. I used thin strips of paper to build up the base of the slot under the nut. I really like the way this guitar plays and sounds, although that second part could be due to new Alnico V pickups. I spent less on this guitar and all of the upgrade parts than I would have if I bought a Squier Affinity, and I now have a guitar that feels and sounds better than a stock made in Mexico Fender. I'm not a professional luthier, I just know how to use YouTube. La guitarra lago rapidissimo, la involtura super bien, en excelentes condiciones, sin muchos accesorios padrísimos, suena muy bien, adecuada para las manitas de mi niño 6 años, el sonido del amplificador es muy bueno. Sin pilas incluidas por lo que puedes tocarla desde el momento que liga. No duden en comprarla esta increíble. Nosotros compramos el color verde, es verde mate, muy linda, de muy buena calidad. Los materials y el sonido. Bought for my grandson and I love it. Loud and super annoying. Every time I go to my daughter's I have him play it for me. He is practicing so hard. Suena muy bien, fantástica para un niño. Bellissima e ben fatta mini chitarra eléctrica. Arriva completa de tutto, custodia, mini amplificator, con bateria interna recaricabile mediante cavetto USB, accordatore elettrico, pletri, cord di ricambio, pano per la pulizia. Ottimi I materiali e curata la realizzazione. Il suono e in linea con le attese per la tipologia di strumento. Donner showed up on my radar a year or so ago when I wanted a looper and was about to buy a Boss unit when I stumbled upon the Donner triple looper and drum machine. The reviews were excellent, and they were not wrong. It has become a staple of my practice routine and creative process ever since. I'm an acoustic player with many years of experience, but I do not own an electric. When I do play electric, it's usually on rented $2,500 plus American Stratocasters. Anyway, I needed an electric for some creative work I'm doing. I am getting a fancy PRS a few months from now, but I'm sick of paying $100/MON to rent an American STRAT and just wanted something solid to toy around with. Somehow I stumbled upon Donner again, and for the price of about 6 weeks of renting a real STRAT, I own a Donner STRAT in Titapool Blue. First impressions, build quality is great. Body is flawless. I love the color. I have a 30-year-old Fender Jazz bass in Titapool Blue and I actually like this color better. The real one is teal, this one is just blue. I haven't found a single manufacturing issue anywhere. Playing it unplugged it sounds nice and balanced. Plugged in, results varied a bit. There is a big volume difference when you get to the bridge H pickup and it's alarming. Easy enough to work around but not ideal. I had to adjust the pickup a bit, just a half turn of a screw, because the 2S pickups were, in my opinion, too far from the strings and too quiet. The only other thing that it needed was some oil on the fretboard. I'm not sure why it came so dry, but loosening the strings and carefully rubbing in, and then cleaning away, some lemon oil made a world of difference. I play through a Spark amp and have a lot of control over tone, but the sound is robust and clear. I'm looking forward to swapping out the strings for something fancy to see if I can get even richer tones, but I'm very happy for now. I've only had it for 48 hours. I will return for a full review in a month or two. It's been a couple of months now, and now that the honeymoon is over, here is my update 1. The tuners are fine. Every beginner instrument seems plagued with these complaints, probably because people don't realize strings, a. need to be properly wound and, b. it takes a week or so, or a few hours of play, to break in strings / have them sit properly on their peg with on extra slack. It doesn't stay in tune for weeks on end like my Taylor acoustic, but it's not the tragedy that other reviewers are describing, either. Point 2. Get new strings. I put on a $15 set of elixirs and it just makes the guitar so much nicer to play. Sounds better. 2.3. Oil the fingerboard when you change the strings. I used tiny bit of a $4 bottle of Old English lemon oil. First, this lets you get off any glue / residue near the frets. While the guitar was well made, there was quite a bit of this residue, which was more apparent after I had the strings off. Anyway, this is a 5-minute job and has made the fingerboard a lot less dry, made the guitar look cleaner and sound smoother on bends etc. 4. The pickups will be my only mod. The ones that come on it are not tragic. They are fine and I have been enjoying them. But they lack a bit of body, and one day when I'm bored I will probably buy a whole Fender pre-wired pick guard. That's all of the electronics from a real entry-level Strat, and costs about twice as much as this guitar did, but the body of this guitar is solid and I feel worthy of such a mod. After 2 months, still love this guitar. I'm not a beginner. This entire guitar cost 1/3 of the deposit I just put down on a PRS. For that price, with just a touch of work, there is incredible value here.